All right. Welcome to Clozer Cult podcast. My name's Alma Merrill, and today we have Rob Adams.
Hello, everybody.
As some of you may realize, I have my appearance a little different today. I feel like a hero.
Looking good.
All right. Rob, dude, good to have you on here.
I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on such short notice. You know, it's amazing how everything has kind of fallen in place just with this podcast over the last few months.
No accidents.
No accidents, man. Things are happening. They're coming together. We've had some amazing synergy, and the growth has been exponential. And so thanks for being a part of it.
That's exciting.
It is exciting, man. We've had just some incredible people on here. So I wanted you to be on. You're like, all right, why am I here?
That's right.
But in reality, something that's near and dear to my heart is one of the things that you do every year, and that is Thanksgiving Heroes. And so I wanted to have you on about that, talk a little bit about that. But that's not all that's Rob Adams, right?
All right, yeah.
So there's a lot of facets to who you are and your sweetheart Annie and your life together and your children and that type of thing.
Wildly interesting.
So I want to talk about that. I really want to kind of get into some of that stuff. And if you're okay, I'll take a little risk with you and ask you some personal questions, that type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really kind of delve into your purposes behind Thanksgiving Heroes. And then also kind of your growth in real estate. You know, one of the people that I had on recently is Boyd Brown, if you're familiar with Boyd.
I know Boyd.
Boyd's become a good friend of mine, and had him on the other day and listened to his growth with the KW, the Keller Williams franchise. And I know you're a part of that brokerage as well. So
that's right.
Just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of all of that. So with that being said, so let's talk a little bit. So I met you, we've probably known each other for how long? 10
years. Yeah.
Yeah, probably 10 years. And we met in the same real estate brokerage. And I like to say, we hit it off really well, really fast. But in reality, everybody hits it off with Rob.
That's how I feel about you. I remember distinctly you were in the morning meetings and you opened your mouth a few times. You had something to say, and I thought, there's a person of value. There's someone that's bringing his brain to the game, and I need to know that guy. So I went out of my way. I don't know if you remember, I came to your office and introduced myself.
Yeah, I do remember that. And I was highly impressed by you because your ability to communicate with people is such a high level. I love the way that you are just who you are. You're just so Rob. I mean, there's nobody like you that I've ever met.
Wow, thank you.
So thank you for being who you are and contributing the way that you do, man.
I love that. I always say everyone else was taken, so I got to be this guy.
I love it. I asked him one day, I'm like, hey, Rob, how you doing? He's like, hey, it's a good day to be Rob, man.
Good to be Rob. I say that sometimes when it isn't true, but I'll say it till it is true.
Right.
That's what counts. Got to remind yourself, because every day where we wake up, it's good to be us.
It's good to be us.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. So tell me, now you've been in real estate for how long?
12 years.
Okay. And in that 12 years, was it all rainbows and butterflies and simple for you?
Nope. It's never been any of those things. It's always been a lot of work, and it's been challenging, and there's a learning curve. I'm not bored yet. I've had jobs where I know what I'm going to be doing every single day, all day. And so I still feel wildly challenged by real estate. Every time I feel like I've gotten to a point of competency, a whole nother level opens up, and I feel challenged, which is exciting for me. It's necessary.
So tell me a little bit about that. What kind of challenge have you felt, as you've gone through the stages of growth in real estate for the last 12? How long did you say you've been? 12 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing is self-growth. Real estate is really very an internal game. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like as I grow and I become more authentic, I become more comfortable with that, and I become more powerful in my own space, then there's always another level. I always can grow. I need to believe in my worthiness. I need to believe in my ability. I need to continue to grow that. As I become more worthy and more willing to accept that, I can start to manifest into my world the business that I deserve. We get what we deserve, what we feel like we deserve.
You said you feel more authentic.
That's right.
That's the word I wanted to use to describe you. I just couldn't think of it for a second.
I love
There's
that.
only one Rob. It's that you're so authentic.
Thank you.
And I think people realize that about you. And I think that it gives them a sense of calm because of how authentic you are.
Thank you. I one of my mentors when I first got into the game, I wanted to be him. He was amazing. He was bringing the heat. He was very well spoken, very well put together, looked amazing all the time. And I actually talked to him about that, and he said, "You know why George Clooney makes so much money?" And because he's George Clooney, and he's like, "No, because he plays his part, and he knows what that part is. And Rob, you need to discover what that part is for you." And when he said that, it kind of took me back. Like I thought, wow, my part isn't to be Alma. My part is to be Rob. And the more I can lean into that, the more people feel that, and the more people want to do business with me, want to be around me.
Well, it's an interesting thing that they say George Clooney, because I've never really looked at him as that.
Yeah.
But when you really look at it, yeah, I mean, he is a dynamic actor. He does his own thing. He's authentic. You know, he's being you. Was that George that told you that?
Yeah,
Was
George.
it?
It's back when Ocean's 11 had just come out, and he's like, "You know why Brad Pitt and George Clooney?" And so I think it was very timely. It's not so much now.
He
But
said George Clooney because it was George speaking.
yeah, that's right.
He wanted to relate. That's rad. So authentic. And then what other steps have you taken as far as, like, you're a highly motivated person, right? Like I would say more than motivated. You're highly driven, right?
Yeah,
I've seen that in you for years. So you're highly driven. What do you do kind of on the daily to get yourself in that mode where you're highly, highly driven?
Boy, that is going to be a very disappointing answer. I do the basics. I wake up in the morning and I do the things that most people won't do to have the things that other people won't have. And I am happy to do those things. I'm happy to commit myself to doing the hard things first. And I get coaching. I follow people that motivate and inspire me on social media, and of course, everywhere that I can find that motivation. But I have a very clear intention. I guess that's the word.
Okay.
I live with intention. I'm living an intentional life. I wake up in the morning with an intention, and this is what's going to have to happen. No matter what, no negotiations. This happens today, no matter what. And so,
do you have goals, daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, that type of thing?
I do. I put together what I call my MBP, my mini business plan, every morning.
Oh, nice.
And on my MBP, hold please, I have it here. I write down the non-negotiables that will happen today.
Check that out.
I cannot go to bed. I cannot go home. I cannot enjoy anything on a personal level until I, as the employee Rob, do everything that the boss Rob needed to have done.
Dude, so you write that every morning?
Every morning.
On that little on a 3x5?
Yep. And then as I go along, you'll see I cross a line through it. At the end of the day, I fold that in half and I throw it in the trash with a sense of like emotional, like.
So you don't hang on to it. You toss it. It's over with. You've done it. It's complete.
That's right. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be now. That's taken care of. And then this evening, I'm going to start writing my MVP for tomorrow so that I don't have to fall asleep thinking about it. I write it down, and then as I'm falling asleep, one of my favorite authors says, never go to bed without asking your subconscious mind for a solution. And so as I write these things down at night, my goals for tomorrow, then my mind is seeing myself be successful in those movements throughout the day. And it could be simple as going on a podcast or prospecting, which we do every single day, or whatever. But I have to make that connection. I have to make that appointment no matter what, non-negotiable, mini business plan every day.
Dude, I love that because it seems like it gives you a little more rhythm.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than
being in fire mode. I'm not always putting out fires, which it seems like it's easy to do. Also, it gives me more time. I don't have to think, now, what else do I need to accomplish? I can look right on there and I move on to my next task. And so I have a level of clarity that most of my competition doesn't have. And I think that that's really given me an edge.
Dude, I love that. I've never heard of anyone who wrote it down every day and then throws it away after. Now for years I've had like 3x5 goals.
Yeah.
But it's usually like for a week or a month or a year.
Yeah.
That I hold in my pocket. I even have a stack of them down there that some of them I haven't even gotten rid of. I keep them because so many of them I didn't accomplish.
Yeah.
Because they seem so distant, and I still hold on to them because I'm like, oh, I still want to do that. So with this, though, it makes it more immediate.
Yes. There's a book called The Gap and the Gain. Have you read that?
No.
Read it.
Gap in the Game?
The Gap and the Gain.
Gap and the Gain, Gane. Okay.
Gain gain.
Gain.
Yeah.
Gane.
We're realtors.
No, I was uneducated. Okay, I couldn't spell till I was in my 20s, my friend. So yeah,
I only know because I have the book. I cheat. In the book, it talks about every day we should have a victory or 3 that we are tracking, and this is my tracking of my victories. The things that I put on here, Alma, are the things that I would easily procrastinate if I hadn't put it at the front of my mind. So I have 0 procrastination in my life. These are the big rocks. I'm moving the big rocks every day, and then it seems like the little rocks will align. And so that's an important way of looking at it. I'm going to focus on the gain that I had today rather than the gap. As real estate agents, we spend a lot of time in the should have, could haves, and would haves. And once we're done shoulding all over ourselves, then we feel unsuccessful. We can burn out in a quick hurry. And I think that the reason that I've been successful is because I haven't burnt out.
Right.
I continue to have my little victories throughout the day, and this is it. This is one of my victories, that I did everything on my list. And it's easy to overwhelm the list. Once we get to a point where there's 20 or 30 things on here, then it falls into the 3 Ds.
Right.
You either do it, you delete it, or you delegate it. Do I need to hire an assistant? I don't know if I need to hire an assistant. Do I have a lot of things that need to be delegated? It starts to show up. And so this is a great gas gauge for running a successful business and a life, a charity, if that's what your choice is.
Right.
And moving those big rocks.
So you're one of those guys I always view as like a journeyman. Like you love the journey and the processes of life and all the variety. I mean,
the juice is.
Yeah, dude. And that's a good way to describe kind of that's where the juice is, baby. Yeah, it's like and I feel like you're so highly disciplined, motivated, excited. Yeah, it seems like you have a lot of joy. I think you take a lot of joy in your family and in your sweetheart. And those things just bleed through, I think, every time that I see you and talk to you.
Oh, thanks.
So tell me a little bit about so you talked a little bit about your daily, what do you call that list?
MBP, my mini business plan.
Okay, your MBP, your mini business plan.
Mm-hmm.
So you've talked about that. That seems like, dude, I'm going to start doing that because I love the focus that probably provides for you. And then the benefit of being able to throw it away afterwards is like.
Right. Zig Ziglar says that salespeople are famous for not being at work. They're thinking about being somewhere else. And then when they're somewhere else, when I'm with my family, I'm thinking about work. I want to be fully present when I'm at work. But then when I get home, guess what? I'm fully present. I don't want to worry about it because I did it.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Is the podcast on there today?
Yeah, actually it is.
Cool, man. I'm making people's to-do lists.
That's right.
So tell me about your business. Where'd you grow up at? Where were your beginnings from?
All over the Southwest. I went to 7 different high schools.
Holy cow.
A lot of travel.
Military family or?
Yep.
Okay.
Military, a lot of military family there. Dad was in the Air Force and the Army. And so, yeah, traveled quite a bit, but it was all, Arizona, Nevada, Southwest.
Okay. And what prompted you to get into real estate? Like what caused you to go, oh, hey, I'm going to do this versus just having a job or doing the 9 to 5er?
Well, I've always been kind of entrepreneurial. And so that's got to be a big part of it. You have to be realizing, self-motivated. You can't, no one's going to hold your hand in real estate.
Right.
So that was a big one. And then I had a mortgage guy who I was pretty good friends with, and he brought me in and he explained to me how 3% worked. Do you understand how 3% works, Alma? And I was like, yeah, I know how that works. And he's like, no.
I know what it equals on my commissions.
And so we did the math on it. And he said, what are you making right now? I was working, had a job, and I told him, and he said, so you could sell 2 homes. That was a minute ago, back when homes were a little bit less. You could sell 2 homes and you could cover your salary. And I thought, gosh, I could sell 1 home a month. That seems reasonable.
Right. I think a lot of people get into it thinking like, if I could just sell 1 a month, that'd be good. Yeah.
I'd be all right.
Yeah.
And so that's how it kind of started. And once I understood, I got into real estate, and real estate is a wild awakening when you get into real estate. Just like anything you get into, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And I got into real estate, and I had this eye-opening experience where, wow, there's, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of these real estate agents are kind of tourists, and the 20% are professionals. And,
right.
And now do I get to decide what I want to be? And I decided to be a professional, and I have just been devouring the business ever since, trying to align with good people and finding good mentors. And
I think that's a good explanation for how you've done your business, because you've been a top producer. You've been an absolute killer when it comes to home sales, investments, other things like that. And I think that's a good description of who you are. What you've done is you've devoured the industry.
yeah,
A lot of people get into it. Because there's a misconception. Oh, you need to treat this like a job, right? For the amount of time you put into it, you got to be more than a job, right?
yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a mindset. It's an everything. The thing that is amazing about real estate, and I wouldn't say this about every industry, is that being in real estate has improved my ability to be a better father, to start a charity, to do a lot of things that I wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And I don't know if there's another industry that I could say that about. Like,
Why has it done that for you?
just because it is such an internal game. If you get better, you get better. And
Wow.
I could get better at my job that I had before, and the only person that would notice would maybe be my family, my my friends.
Right.
But if I'm a better human, I'm more dynamic, I can communicate better, I'm thinking more clearly, then I am a better real estate agent, because now I can negotiate at a higher level. I have a higher level of confidence when I step into a room and I'm working with people that need someone with confidence.
So would you say the communication aspect has really helped you with that confidence as
Tremendously.
you've talked to people?
Yep.
Because, I always tell people when I'm coaching them and stuff, I'll always say things like, the best kind of practice is with real people,
Yeah.
not with fake role playing.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement. And so your job is to get as many at plates as possible. I need to strike out more than anyone else.
Yeah.
And I'm good. I'm okay with that. I am happy hearing no all day, because it only takes one yes in order to make my day, in order to succeed.
Right.
And that's okay. So,
And I've seen that my greatest successes have come after my most catastrophic failures. Have
isn't
you
that
seen
weird? Yeah. Yeah. What do they say? The biggest breakthroughs happened right after the biggest breakdowns.
Right.
And I believe that to be true. And so I think hanging on, sticking with it, that's something that's hard to teach.
Right.
But it's, especially now the way that the world is, you really have to get in. And
They talk, there's so many hobbyists in our industry.
hobbyists, I like that.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, they're not connected to it unless they burn those boats. If you land on that island
Yeah.
and the island is real estate and you have that boat, you can sail back home and go do what you did, or you can burn the boat and you don't get to go back home. You have to make it happen where you're at.
That's interesting. I remember feeling like I sold my first. I was a buyer's agent first. I got a buyer into a home, and then I got my first listing, and I had that moment, almost like a loud click, like, this is it. I'm not going to go back to whatever that was. I'm not going to be a police officer like I've done in the past. I'm not going to go back and do.
That's right. I forgot you were a police officer.
Only for about 8 years. Not
Okay. 8 years?
Yeah.
Only for 8 years. Wow. Okay.
But I'm not going to go. There's no other place for me. This is my home, and I'm going to become a professional. And I think there's a big difference. The definition for professional, again, I'm going to quote our mentor, is that I'm willing to do the things that I don't want to. I'm going to show up and I'm going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to put myself in a position with people who are more dynamic than me, just so I can learn. And it's uncomfortable.
Don't point to me when you say more dynamic than me.
Oh, man.
That's a huge fallacy, my friend.
No. Just everybody out there that's listening. Alma, I had my first big listing presentation, a number that really, truly scared me. And that's when I introduced myself to you. And I said, hey, will you go with me on this listing presentation? And you're like, sure. And we went. And you had just the most natural, I know I told you this the other day, but you just had like the most natural conversation with this seller. We didn't get the listing, by the way, but the big takeaway was there was no pitch. This is what I do.
Right.
This is how I do it. And does that fit into your plan? What's your plan? And it was just an open conversation, a dialogue with someone who was knowledgeable. And it was just such an eye-opening moment where I'm like, gosh, I could do that. I could have a conversation. I can ask hard questions. This is easy.
I had totally forgotten about that till
Not
you
easy.
mentioned it to me the other day at Louie's birthday party.
Yeah. I want to take back the word easy. It's not easy, but it's natural.
Natural.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. And I appreciate you sharing that story. I totally had forgotten about that till you mentioned, you're like, he comes up to me, he's like, hey, did I ever tell you how you changed my life? And I'm like, what the F, dude? Like, how could I have ever changed your life?
That's how I start conversations.
Because I look at you with such admiration. I mean, you're such an inspiration to me. I admire you so much for all the things that you do with the Thanksgiving Heroes and the way that you treat your clients and your family and your friends and the people around you. When people talk about Rob, they don't say, "Oh yeah, I know Rob Adams." They go, "I know Rob Adams. He's a freaking unbelievable person," you know? They're like, "Oh, he's such a freaking great guy," you know? And so you've really kind of developed this this I don't know, man, this reputation of just the purest type of person, but you're down to earth, but you're lovable, but you're a honest businessman, and you have a heart of gold because of, so many of the things that you do.
Great compliments. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming and being here. Let me ask you this. I have a question for you as far as Thanksgiving Heroes.
I'm ready.
So tell me about what is Thanksgiving Heroes. As you guys can see, I'm like ready to rock today. And how can people be involved or get involved with this organization?
Oh man,
I know it's deep, and
that's a lot.
If you can kind of share a little bit of your story, that would be amazing too, because I know it's very near and dear to your heart.
Well, simply put, as I told you, I moved quite a bit. We moved down to Texas during the last recession, and my dad had a job with a HVAC company, and they wanted him to do some dishonest stuff, and he wouldn't do it.
Okay.
And so we gave up all of our savings to move down there, and we got there pretty much on fumes pulling into town. He decided to quit this job because they wanted him to be dishonest. Huge example for me. Like, that's a big deal.
Oh, big deal.
So there we were in Texas on fumes. We had bought a piece of land, a half an acre, in a town called Porter. And
where was it? This was in
northeast Houston.
Houston, okay.
Just outside of Houston. And it was
called Porter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were broke. And now that I'm a dad, Alma, and I look back on it, I'm have to hand it to my folks for keeping such a normal environment. Yeah, I didn't know that we were broke. I didn't know that we were struggling. But now that as an adult, I look back and I see that I only ate when I was at school. We would have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at the truck. We lived out of our pickup truck on this piece of land. I thought we were camping. How awesome is that as an 11-year-old?
Very adventurous, which is maybe why you have such a heart of adventure.
Yeah. And we were just barely making it. And a family showed up. They were in our church group, and they were building churches, and they were from Utah. And so every year for the holidays, they would go home to Utah to spend time with their family. And they had this big, beautiful home in a town called Kingwood, just around the other side of Houston. And they invited us into their home. And it was the very first time that it really occurred to me, like, wait a second, like this is what it's like. This is what other people live like. And they have
a home.
Yeah.
They have a house.
They have 2 bathrooms. It's crazy. They had a giant picture window in the front of the house with a great big Christmas tree. And underneath that tree was presents for my family. And I'm a little bit older. Sub for Santa wasn't a thing. I'd never heard of that kind of generosity. But the thing that really impressed me was when I opened the fridge, there was that pumpkin pie on that top shelf with a little piece of whipped cream in the middle. I just thought, I'm going to hurt that pumpkin pie.
Dude, I've heard a lot of pumpkin pies like that. My days.
Yeah. And this family was like, "This is all for you. See ya." And they were gone. There was no, "Don't use the West Wing," or it was just our house.
What?
Yeah. And they just let us almost total strangers. Like, think of the generosity it would take to let someone live in your home for 2 weeks.
What?
A homeless family. They get to move into your house for 2 weeks. The generosity still blows my mind. And when I opened that fridge, I just remember feeling such a rush of excitement. Like, look at all of this food for us. And I don't know if you remember being an 11-year-old boy, but you're hungry all the time.
All the time, yeah.
I'm still a little bit that way. I'm hungry all the time. And I just loved it. I turned around to my mom. She had just tears rolling down her cheeks. And I said, "Mom, one day when I'm rich," which the definition's changed quite a bit since then.
Right.
I'm going to do this for a family. And fast forward now, I'm in real estate about 2 years, and I'm selling more houses than, I was rookie of the year. I'm like killing it. I'm doing really good. And I never imagined making 6 figures. In fact, I didn't know what 6 figures was. Someone had to explain it to me. 0, 0, 0.
You're all 6 figures.
Oh.
I don't wait, let me see. Yeah.
Are you serious? I can make that kind of money? And I told my mom I'm going to do this, and I was going to feed 10 families. I told a good friend of mine, I was at Century 21 at the time, and I told a friend of mine, he's like, well, I want to feed 10 families. In the first year, we fed 755 families.
Wow.
Bananas. And when I say feed a family, we're not delivering like a plate of food. We're delivering 65 pounds of food, a 20-pound turkey, 10 pounds of potatoes, a gallon of milk, a box of butter, all the fixings down to the olives, you crazy Utahns, all of this stuff. Everything.
What is up with the olives?
I don't even get that, but
I think it's really just for the kids to put it
on their fingers. Yeah. They need to make bigger olives. And so that was it. The first year, I felt like I'd paid my karmic debt back to the Christiansen family, the ones that saved us that one Christmas. And
the house that I bought came from a family named the Christiansens.
I'm tracking them down.
They're just gold people. I mean, I wonder if we'll have to check. We'll
see
have
if
to
they were
look into
church
that.
builders in the 80s.
We're gonna have to look into that.
Yeah. Because they've changed my life, and because of that, now fast forward. Well, let me just say one more thing. The first year, I did it, and I wasn't going to do it again. I thought I could check that box and move on.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember their first names, by the way?
No, brother and sister.
Brother and sister. Okay. We need to figure this out. Yeah.
The first year after I fed that 755 families, I thought I was done. And a lady called me. She said, hey, my husband left me last year, right before the holidays, me and my 2 kids. And your organization, which it wasn't an organization, it was just me and a bunch of my buddies throwing it together, fed my family. And now we want to pay it forward. And Alma, at that moment, there was like, this is what it's about. It's about paying it forward. It's not about the food.
Right.
It's about providing your family a safe and meaningful service opportunity that can change people's lives. And when I had that realization, I thought, I'm going to do this the rest of my life on that phone call. And I said, okay, let me put it together. We've had 533 families that year.
Wow.
And we only had about 5 weeks to do it in. Like, it was just a thrown together. We did it out of the Macy's deli. Like, people were coming into the Macy's and up there on Fort Union. And ever since then, it has just grown and really taken off. We're in Cleveland. We're in Dallas, Phoenix, Las Vegas, San Diego. We're growing across the country. And so,
wow.
Did you know that?
I did know that you were growing. Yeah, I didn't know all the areas you were in, but holy cow, dude.
And this year we'll feed 3,000 families here locally.
Oh my gosh, man. How does that feel? How does it feel to say we're going to feed 3,000 families on Thanksgiving?
It's surreal because when I say that, 3,000 families are going to get 5 days worth of food. So it's 3,000 times 65 pounds of food, 5 people per family. And so when I start to break that down to the total number of people who will be served, and then I think about all of the volunteers that get to show up and they get to serve and they get to make that eye contact and they get to say, hey, Alma, you matter. I love you. It's surreal. It's amazing to me. It's bigger than me. It's not me. This was given to me through the universe, and I am just the servant that gets to do it. This is what I was made to do. I was put here on this planet to create this thing. And of course, I've created a beautiful business and I have a beautiful family. And of course, those are the things that I was made to do. But of the things I was made to do, this is my thing. This is
I want to tell you my little story.
I'm listening.
About Thanksgiving Heroes.
Okay.
So the first year that I came and helped with deliveries for Thanksgiving Heroes, I think I was given like 4 families to go deliver to, put it in the minivan and just rolled out, with my wife and my kids. And we went together and we just went and delivered these. And I remember going to the first house. Oh, man. Okay. And I remember knocking on the door and the curtains pop back. This cute little girl looking through the door. And she opens the door and she's like, hi. And I'm like, hi, is your mom here or your dad? And she's like, mom's here, but she's not coming out. And I was like, oh, okay, no problem. Is someone here? We have food for you guys. And she's like, yeah, what? That's for us, And her little brother comes around the side and another little sister. I was like, yeah, this is for you guys, This is for Thanksgiving. And they were like, oh my gosh, they're just that, you were talking about that 11-year-old boy seeing all that stuff. And they were like, oh my gosh, thank you. This is so amazing. And they're like, the little one's like, this is my doll, And I'm just like, And I said, your mom's not here, huh? Yeah, she's here, but she won't come out. And I was like, she was, she had that pride, and that probably pain associated with the fact that people were bringing her a meal. And it just kind of reminded me of my childhood, because we had people do that for us and come to our aid and our need. What a gift, man. What a gift it was to be able to serve with you and be a part of that.
I love that.
And to share that with these kids. And when you do that, you see yourself, you see your own children, you see your past experiences and some of your hardships. And man, the closer you can relate to people, And man, that experience, man, it just imprinted on my soul. And I just went, this is the work, man. This is what we're supposed to be doing.
This is what we're supposed to be doing. That's why we're here. Yep. I love that story.
So, and that was one of literally thousands and thousands of deliveries like that. But, oh man, bro, thank you so much for that experience, because it just gave me such gratitude. And the looks on their faces, I know that they will always remember that, that moment. So thank you for letting me be a part of that.
Thank you for sharing that. That's the magic sauce. And once you do that one time, every year, you're going to look forward to doing it again.
Yeah.
It's the best gift that it fills everybody. Everyone was blessed in that circle. And I'll tell you the truth, Alma, I'm the most blessed of all the things that I do in my life. I know, like, that experience right there, that fills my soul. And it's everything else is going to be okay.
Yeah. I thought, man, this is the best part of humanity. Yeah. Like, being able to do this for someone is the best part of the humanity. Because I can only imagine what the mom thought when she walked in that kitchen and went, whoa,
Yeah. I actually write a script out for people who are delivering, and the script goes, because this is meaningful to me. People will ask, well, who nominated me? And the answer is, someone in the community must love you very much, because they want to take care of you and make sure that your needs are met. Being significant, feeling seen, creating hope is what this is about. It's not about food. It's about taking hopeless and turning it into hopeful. It's about giving us a chance to connect. We have been so segregated and split and divided in the past year or three.
Right.
It's more needed now than ever before to actually look someone in the eye and say, you matter to someone. You matter to me. Because that can change someone's life forever.
It doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter what you believe religiously.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what you believe politically.
Yep.
You matter.
You matter. The other thing that's interesting is, as I do Thanksgiving's Heroes and I tell my story, it's interesting because it resonates with two types of people, I should say. Those who were poor and were served, and then those who did serve. Oh, so we used to do this. When I was a kid, we used to do this, and it meant so much when I would go with my mom and dad and we would do this. There's a service aspect in each of our lives that's undeniable. And if we can lean into that,
doesn't matter if we're rich or poor. That still exists.
It still exists. And if we can lean into that, that's where we're going to find our happiness. That's where we'll find fulfillment. And that's all that matters.
So tell me about fulfillment for you. Tell me what this has done for you as far as purpose and fulfillment in your life. Because I know.
Well, I'm a better man. I'm a better dad. I'm a better husband. I'm a better brother. I'm a better friend. I have more empathy in my life. I have more forgiveness for myself and for those around me. It has truly refined me. I always tell people it's the best, worst idea I've ever had because it's so hard, but it's so worth it. It's one of those things that every year I just think, oh, this is such heavy lifting. But every year I'm just so grateful. And my life is so blessed by this one activity that we do. On the 19th, I call it the big day. That's the Saturday before Thanksgiving. It's my favorite day. I feel like my head's just going to explode with gratitude and love. Like, this is what heaven is like.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
friend after friend is pulling up. And if you're not my friend, you're about to be, because
Right.
I'm getting you out and I'm going to give you a hug, because thanks for
Uh-huh.
supporting me. Thanks for supporting these families. Thanks for loving on strangers, because we are out there. No matter what the news says, the world is full of good people that want to do good things. And all we have to do is follow me, boys, or find that one and support it 100%. The world is full of good people. And so it's just an amazing day.
You have really taken the guessing out of it for everybody. I
Yeah.
mean, this is such a great environment to be able to participate, serve, be mentored, mentor others. This is such a great aspect of, a great opportunity for people to serve. Tell me, how can people get involved?
Well, there's 4 ways. Volunteer, come on the big day.
Okay.
I'm going to put out on the website, thanksgivingheroes.com. You can go in and pick a time that works best for you. You've done that.
Yep.
And then you show up and you get right through and you're on your way. You're going to have a list of names depending on the size of your vehicle, how many names you get.
Okay.
And I have a UR code. You scan it, it gets you the map, and away you go.
Dude, I got a pickup truck this year, man. We're going in.
Bring it. Bring it. That's the first way. The second way is to nominate a family. If you know that a family needs help, the only barrier of entry to having this level of service in their lives is being nominated. I don't care what their story is. It doesn't matter to me. In fact, my first year when I did this, I went to a home in Pepperwood, delivered
Which, for those of you who don't know Pepperwood, it's a very, very well-known, affluent neighborhood.
One of the finest in our area.
Yeah, definitely.
I delivered to this house, and I thought when I was getting out of my car, these guys should be delivering to me.
Right.
I lived in Taylorsville at the time. You know what I mean? I was, yeah. And I delivered the food. I went into their house, and in their house was nothing, no furniture. The family was squatting in there. Dad had gotten cancer. You don't know what's happening behind the door next door.
Wow.
And so it's not for
You
me.
would never think, going into a gated community, high-end,
Yep.
beautiful, 8,000 plus square foot home. I mean, these things are just beautiful and massive.
Yep.
That something like that could be happening, but it does happen.
It happens. They were on the verge of losing their home. I'm sure they did. But for 1 minute, I got to go in and I got to set the box on the counter, and I opened up their fridge and I was putting the food in the fridge. Like, these guys were so gobsmacked that this had even happened. And I just was like going with it. And I told them how much I love and appreciate them, and I wish them the very best. And I left that house and I thought to myself, it's not about the address. And so I just want people to nominate. If you know a family in need, nominate them. You can go on and do it. The third thing is to donate. I've got to come up with $278,000 in the next 90 days.
Okay.
And that's a significant chunk of money to have donated to a dude.
Right. Yeah.
Go do good with this money. Go do good.
And just for those that donate, you have an what do they even call them?
Yeah, we're a 503c.
503c, right?
So we could give them a receipt, and they can use that however they'd like.
And how do you donate? Is there a website?
Yep, you can go to thanksgivingheroes.org.
Okay.
And you go to Salt Lake, not one of the other areas, and donate in that area. We try to make it as easy as possible for you. And then the final way,
And you can just enter your card information or whatever, and you can donate whatever you want to on there.
Yeah, I actually have a new reoccurring gift program where you can just pay $10 a month or $15 a month, like that gym membership that you never cancel.
That's a great idea, man. That makes it real easy for people.
Yeah, because I learned that it's hard to ask for money during the holidays. Everybody's strapped.
Right.
But if you're paying in May, you're 15 or 20 bucks, you're going to feed 3 families by the end.
Or 30 or 50 or 120.
Whatever.
Right.
Whatever you can afford.
Okay.
And happy to do that. So we have a couple different ways that you can donate. And then I said nominate, donate, and then volunteer, showing up on the big day. Oh, and the last thing, of course, is helping me spread the word. What I've come to realize is that this is really a grassroots movement, and it's about creating relationships. And if I bump into you and you have an organization or a business that wants to get involved with a local charity, I'm your guy. And it's that relationship that has really paid the bills. Thanksgiving's Heroes, I used to say 100% of the money goes to feed families, but I had to hire someone because I was about to get a divorce. It was too taxing. And so 82%, every 82 cents on the dollar goes to the cause, which I'm still fiercely proud of.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
Yeah. A lot of charities, it's less than 10 or 15%
Right.
actually makes it to the cause because of their overhead.
Yeah, I've heard of some that are similar to that. That it's like when you look into it, there's like 5% of it that goes
Yeah.
because it's almost they get too big for their britches,
Yeah.
as they say in the South.
As they say in the South. And so those are the big ways to do it. And if you can get me in front of your Rotary Club or your youth group, I love to tell the story, get everybody involved, get them excited about the opportunity to serve and to love. And that's my message. So those are the ways that I really need help this year.
Oh man, thank you for sharing that story with me. I was so excited to have you because when you've shared it multiple times in our circle and among some of our friends and business associates and stuff like that. But every single time you went to share it, I had to be out of the room for some freaking reason. Like the last time you shared it at an event that I was speaking at, and I had to go dress up in a sumo costume.
Oh, I remember that.
Recall.
Yeah, that's right.
And unfortunately, I was in the door. I was like looking through the door and putting my ear to the door so I could hear the story, and I just couldn't hear the story through all the people crying.
Yeah.
Of your story. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you bet.
And thank you for doing Thanksgiving Heroes. I mean, this is something that I think a lot of us here locally, like you said, is a grassroots movement. But a lot of us here locally have such a heart for your movement and what you do and want to so fiercely be involved in it.
I always like to warn people, like, don't come because it's going to become a tradition. Like you will,
Right.
you will be hooked because that one delivery that you made, you'll remember for the rest of your life. And I bet there's times where you've thought, I wonder how those little girls are
for
doing.
sure.
I wonder how they're doing now.
Yeah.
And it's even just that thoughts are things, and you're sending them some energy, some love that they deserve. Those
I believe
girls,
in that.
They need that. And so it's more than just that one day of that transfer of energy. It's a lifetime of giving and receiving.
Dude, I love that, man. Thank you so much for doing this stuff,
Yeah.
man. And what a gift you've been to our community as a friend. Thank you so much for being such a phenomenal friend to me and to my family. Thank you so much for being an amazing business associate. And thank you so much for still reaching out, even though like so many times, we'll meet in like, especially in real estate, you'll have these amazing friends in real estate or in a certain specific brokerage. And then you go transfer to another brokerage and everybody's like, oh, let's not associate anymore. But thank you so much. And I think, the Utah market is pretty particularly easy to do that in.
Yeah.
I think we have a really good environment to where if you change brokerages or you do whatever, oftentimes people will still stay in touch with each other in our kind of culture out here.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And I feel like a collector of good people. And so
you've collected a lot.
I've
you
collected
have some great friends.
some great people. And thank goodness my life is so blessed having the Almas and Jennifers in my life. Like I feel like it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, it is worth it. You guys, if you want to donate, if you want to help or be a part of Thanksgiving Heroes, please go on to thanksgivingheroes.org. What an honor to have you here today, my friend. I mean, I so admire you and I so appreciate you. So
Grateful to be here. Thank you, Mama.
thanks for being on. You guys, what a gift to be on here with Mr. Rob Adams. And thank you for tuning in to Clozer Cult's podcast. Follow us, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Share these things and share this one specifically so that we can get more people involved in Thanksgiving Heroes and bless, oh man, all the lives of those who need it. Thank you guys. Have a great one.